Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. My name is Krishna and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cupbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is going. It is rainy,
Mm-hmm.
but that's okay because I have a wonderful cup of coffee here, and it is not Costco brand. No, we got our shipment of flavored coffees today from the place we order them on Amazon. I think it's Two Rivers Coffee. It's pretty good stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm like Captain Free advertising for coffee companies. Anyway, no, I mean it's good stuff. I've been keeping my eye out on the Smash Wrestling site for the event that we will talk about during the show today. That will be coming up on a particular very important
hmm
day in a month and a half now. But
hmm
yeah, yeah. Other than that, not a hell of a lot work. How are you doing?
Good. It's Monday. The city's feeling a lot more light, I should say. Everyone partied, I guess, this weekend.
Oh yeah, I
That
forgot about
being the Leaf fans partied up this weekend. Boston got eliminated last night from the playoffs, um, which they are calling a worse collapse than the Toronto versus Boston collapse. They said you were eliminated by a team that were 43 points, not 42, 43 points below you in the standings. You were up 3 games to 1. You had a breakaway in game 5 that could have ended things, and you lost to the Florida Panthers in seven
So
games.
basically, what you're saying is we are living in bizarro world right now,
It,
where the
it,
Leafs
it
actually eliminate the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Boston gets humiliated in the
the
playoffs.
the Leafs limited the Tampa Bay Lightnings. Boston got humiliated in the playoffs. There are so many memes today with Toronto handing the torch over to Boston for the collapse for the choke. Um,
Oh, that's awesome.
the Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche were eliminated by the Seattle Kraken.
Yep.
So
I've
that
never
so
even
that
seen
that
their jerseys. I don't
that
even know what they
so
look like. So
that's kind of interesting turn of events. But yeah, no, I like it's I'm good. This again, the city is just gonna be getting busier and busier. The round 2 starts tomorrow
tomorrow, and I
already.
gotta go
Uh,
downtown tomorrow
oh
in the
yeah, I
evening
got to
mood.
go to work tomorrow downtown anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm heading out of there as fast as I can.
I got to be down there for some stuff in the evening.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
no.
get there. Like I'm gonna try to arrive as early as possible and just kill time, so I kind of beat the, oh my God, we need to go see the Leafs rush downtown
Oh
because,
yeah.
anyway.
It's really crazy. Like it's just I would say just get in as fast as you can and get out because yeah, it's gonna be chaos down
Oh yeah, I'll
there.
be leaving during the game, so I
Yeah,
mean it'll
that's
be
good.
pretty quiet. Anyway, that is not why we're here today. We are not here to talk about the Leafs. We are here to talk about a different event that happened on Saturday night. Dare I say, a more important event that happened on Saturday night for those of us who are wrestling fans.
It was a
We
good event. Yeah, it was a good event.
It was. We are here to talk about Smashes. Smash Wrestling, a Toronto promotion here. Their Live, Laugh, Lariat show that came to us from Franklin Horner Community Center on April the 28th. Krishna and I were both there live, of course, since, it's not like it's a televised event. So, although a lot of the matches are recorded, they do
hmm
TV, and there is a hard cam, as we find out later.
hmm
So, so yes. So you want to get into talking about the
Let's go.
show,
Yeah, let's
Krishna?
go.
Okay, let's do it. So, Smash Wrestling, for those of you who aren't aware, is the promotion that the Young Bucks once called the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla (PWG) of
Mhm.
Canada. So they're a pretty big deal, and we try to get to as many of their shows now as we can in the Toronto area. We started the evening off though listening to the promoter Sebastian Suave. He does an interview with some of the fans, including Krishna and myself, and he was speaking about how he's trying to do things differently in Smash now than he did previously, and that he's trying to set Smash apart from the other local Toronto indie promotions. He did mention he has things planned he can't discuss yet.
Mhm.
Um, which I found very interesting. I'd like to really, because so far, he's talked about how the fan experience is really one thing that sets them apart from the other promotions. And I'll be interested to see what some of the other ideas and stuff that he has planned are. I mean, I got a sneaking feeling what's going to be happening on June 25th may be fitting into that somewhat. He did note, however, that currently the show that he did this weekend was one of the most expensive shows he's run due to the economy. They've had to make
Yeah.
adjustments to the way they put shows on because of how bad the economy is right now. And the shows are quite expensive to be putting on. And he's also experimenting with different locations in Toronto to see which ones draw more, see which ones offer better fan reception, better fan experience, that kind of thing. So right now they're back in their home of Franklin Horner Community Center, which is kind of in the west part of Etobicoke. For those of you that know Toronto, I was particularly struck by his honesty and his engagement with the fans, especially some of the children at ringside that he was more than happy to talk with, say, take photos with, that kind of stuff. So, what did you think?
No, I mean he's obviously running a promotion. And he points out all the time, like, it's obviously the fans that keep them going, because obviously the fans are, providing them the money that they need to keep to run these promotions, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he's honest with what he's trying to. He tries to get like, guests to come out and have like a mini like Q&A, and if they can't, then he jumps in and he does his Q&A with them, right? He's very open about like why he was moving around the venues. And he's right. Like, I mean, you ask people from the West End where they want to go, they'll tell you closer to home, and the East End the same thing, right? And in terms of like what he has planned for the Forbidden Door, interesting, because that's going to be like we talked about it, that's going to be a bigger promotion for Smash, because it's not only Smash, it's a combination of different promotions. So and happening, Forbidden Door Day itself is a big thing as well, right? Because you know that you want to draw crowds, but you have to do it within the time span prior to the actual big show, because if you try to go head to head, you're just harming yourself at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like the fact that he was open, he was honest. Like, I mean, people, like, if you listen to some of the questions people ask, it was really kind of like, as he said, if I ask 10 people, they're going to give me different answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you back here? And he said the transit is the biggest thing. Everyone says that, it's the commute that really is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
um but he's right. He's definitely right. Like, you can't just, say, oh, a couple fans message you and say, hey, I don't like this, right? You have to
Right.
test it out. You have to see, hey, that venue was full,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if it's full, and let's say that it's cheaper for them to get that venue versus get, like, let's say, the Rec Room, like,
Mm-hmm.
business wise, it just makes sense, right? Because then you can bring in like more wrestlers and put
Right.
on like bigger shows and so forth. And hey, we even said, hey, it was kind of warm in there, but I guess it kind of gave you that indie feel. There was no screen for them to project like entrances on, but they did what they could, right? For what they had. So no, I liked his honesty in terms of like where he sees the company, and what he's trying to do for them.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a genuine person, so that's why I'm like, this guy's a good guy. He's someone you kind of want to support. You want to see them like succeed, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, and again, he says that's what it is. Like, he sees familiar faces, right? He
Yeah.
sees the people who go to both shows. He sees that, right? And he that's what he loves to see. So yeah, I mean, it's great. It was great.
Yep. Oh, 100%. And to your point about the venue too, I mean,
Hmm.
you're right. Yeah, it's missing the screen.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's quite warm in there, yes,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
everything was way cheaper. Parking's
Yeah.
free. I mean, there's every
Yeah.
every location's going to have its perks and its
Hmm.
detriments, right? And I didn't really feel like I was missing anything by not having the screen because I mean, I'm so focused on the ring that's right in front of
Hmm.
my face anyway that, not having a screen on the entrance.
Hmm.
I mean, we can't get promo videos and stuff
Hmm.
like that, but that's okay. Like that. I didn't find that to be a detriment, but I know other people will miss things like that.
Hmm.
So, and I know the other venue that they're talking about using is the Phoenix Concert Theater,
Yeah.
which is a good venue, but that's going to be our worst one to try to get to. So,
Yeah. It's just out of the way.
yeah, I mean, Krishna
Right.
and I are both like West End Toronto.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's East End and
Mhm.
kind of semi downtown East End, which
Yeah.
yeah, the parking will stink worse than Rec Room.
Yep, that's for sure.
After that, we got an opportunity to talk with Main Event, which is a tag team consisting of Jay Lyons and Midas Black. They do kind of for those of you who aren't familiar with them, they do sort of a circus ringleader gimmick with
Mhm.
Midas being the ringleader. He's ringleader Midas, and Jay Lyons, of course, being the lion. And he wears like a lion like lucha mask. He's the larger guy of the two of them. But they've been doing quite. They've done some matches on AEW on Dark and Dark Elevation. And yeah, they were wrestling. They were wrestling in the show tonight against Critical X Revolution, but we'll get to that match later. But they came out and did a Q&A with the fans that were there. And they were asked things like one of them asked about their influential tag teams. They mentioned that Dudley Boys were their favorite tag team. They spoke about the opportunity to work with AEW and how much they valued it. Working with FTR, working with Dark Order,
Mhm.
teams like that. They were asked, what one of the hardest things they've overcome is, and Midas Black said it was just doing this every day, right? Continuously moving himself forward, right? Overcoming the self-doubt he may have about his ability or where they're at and that sort of stuff. And he also noted one of the hardest things he did was have a kid. He almost stopped wrestling at that point because he was like, how am I supposed to support my kid doing this? Because independent wrestlers don't exactly make a mint of cash, right?
Mhm.
And he talked about getting through that, and how he's got a wonderful child now, supportive mate, and that sort of thing. Jay Lyons talked about periods of downtime being the hardest thing to overcome, like when they worked solidly for a few months, and and then they are not working, and they were like, he said, it's hard not to blame yourself. It's not your fault, but it's hard not to blame yourself for not
Mhm.
working. I found that really interesting. And Midas Black also noted that the one thing that you really need is accountability. It's all about accountability. Just be accountable to yourself and accountable to others, which I thought was a very good way to phrase it. I was really impressed with them myself. What did you think?
No, they're really young guys that you could tell, like, they're trying to get into the wrestling scene, and they're working their butts off, and they're being open and honest about everything. Yeah, and the main thing was being accountable, like Jay Lyon saying that, hey, I after I have a full-time job outside of this.
Mm-hmm.
And think about that when he says, sometimes months they're going in every weekend wrestling shows, like 3 to 4 shows, and
Mm-hmm.
and then Monday morning back to work, right? 5 days a week, just work, just goes back to work. And it's almost like he two jobs, they understand the sacrifices that need to be made. And yeah, you'll see in the review and their match, like they're very, very good. It's yeah, it's surprising the stuff that these guys have to go through for their dream, and that's it. It's their dream, right? And it's never giving up. And
Mm-hmm.
talking about times that they could have, leaning on on his friend and asking, like telling him I might have to stop, and then just working through it, right? Yeah, they were really good. Like I've never heard of them before, but they were really good. They were fun. Again, the kids love them. They love the mask and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they were very interactive with the crowd.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with them too. They're
Mm.
they're they're good. They're good young guys, and I think that they've
Mhm.
got a very promising future ahead of them because they've got a thing going that's entertaining, right? Like they
Mhm.
stand out. They're not just a typical tag team.
Yep.
They've got a gimmick that kind of works for them, right? With the
Mhm.
ringleader and the lion, and and talk about and remember Midas Black talking about how his mom gave them their gimmick accidentally. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you guys be ringleader? What, from a circus? That's dumb. And that's what they end up
And then
doing,
it ended
right?
up in,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, no, they were very cool. It was a pleasure getting
Mhm.
to listen to them and
Definitely.
chat with them a bit. Um, the one thing I want to know before we get into the whole show is, I mean, the kids at this event. But the one thing that I really noticed, I love it when we get young fans who are
Mhm.
just so into wrestling, right? There was the one kid that was near us who was much quieter, wearing the bloodline hat. That I forget who pointed out the hat.
The ringleader guy, I forget his name. Not Jalen, the other guy. Midas
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 Black.
Black. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said, he goes, "This is why we do it." He goes, you two, and he pointed out that he's like, you got you with the bloodline hat, and you, because I know it's not a Raptors hat, but I know what it is, right?
Mhm.
He's like, you're the reason we do this. He goes, we were there, we were like you, and we said we wanted to do
Yes.
professional wrestling, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And like the kids all through the night, how into the whole show they were
yeah,
getting into. It's just so much fun seeing people that age having so much fun at these shows. Because it's like there's your next generation of wrestling fan,
hmm
right? Like the way that this will leave an impression and stuff. That's really cool. So the show opened up with Kaz Jordan, who's from Australia, taking on the driver, Joe Demaro, who had been advertised for the previous two Smash shows, but had been unable to get to either of them in Toronto. He did make the ones in London, but he did not make the ones in Toronto. So this was
hmm
his Toronto debut, so to speak. And this was a solid match. I mean, Kaz Jordan was quite good. He had
hmm
some good high flying moves. You know, a lot of energy, one of those super energetic like baby face style. He wore like almost Hawaiian shorts in
yeah,
the ring with
yeah.
his gear, like the Darby Allin tights and the Hawaiian shorts. It was almost like Hawaii Darby Allin in a way. um and you know, Joe Demaro plays like he has a lot of solid moves and he's really crisp with what he does. um and you know, just hard hitter. You know, he can pull out a good drop kick or a good fast move when he needs to, and just looks like he's there to almost hurt people.
hmm
Jordan won this match with a face buster. Looked kind of like a reverse STO. It went by pretty fast, and I did not have a rewind button, so we're gonna go with face buster.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was. What'd you think of the match?
It was good. I thought it was good. I thought like we hadn't seen the driver obviously last time he got canceled, and I think even this time I don't know if he was supposed to face this guy or what happened, but they found a replacement.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this was great. Like I thought both did a really good job. It was the other guy was from Australia, right? He was
Yes.
Australia, yeah. And the driver I pointed out to you, I was like, yeah, you know, his gimmick, it's the he's literally the hitman from Drive, right?
Yeah.
Hence, I guess driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, he was the driver. The minute I saw him come out with his gloves and his kind of puffy jacket he was wearing, and I was like, this looks familiar. And then you look at the guy, he looks if like he looks like a grizzled kind of Ryan Gosling-ish type guy, right? Because that's who was the driver in Drive.
Yeah.
And it played so well because at first I didn't know much about either of these guys, but you could tell immediately who the good guy and the bad guy were, right? So you knew
Mm-hmm.
who the heel was in this match and stuff like that. Good wrestling match. Like I would say, you know, I didn't see any like mess ups or anything like that. Like they worked their butts off, like some
Mm-hmm.
pretty hard hits and stuff like that. And I enjoyed it for the opening match. This was, you know, it didn't overstay its welcome. It went in there, did its job, and yeah, I had fun with it.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you completely. It was a really solid opening match.
Mhm,
It got me into it. I really like Kaz Jordan a lot.
mhm.
I thought the driver did his job very solidly. I like him as kind of like I can see him as being a good heel type
Yeah.
character, right? Someone that these more rambunctious faces will play well
hmm
against. Kaz Jordan's apparently actually based in Canada too, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, so he's an Aussie, but he's based
In
here.
Canada.
So we'll probably see more of him as well, which is completely fine by me. Um, but anyway, yeah, I agree with you. It was a good, solid match. I would happily watch either of these guys wrestle again.
hmm
It was nice being introduced to both of them. So yeah, good opener. And then we got main event, which, as we had already said, is Jay Lyons and Midas Black taking on Critical X Revolution, TJ Epixxx, and Chael Connors. This was one of those fast paced, both teams had like high athleticism, including Jay Lyons, who is a very large man
hmm
and was able to move incredibly quickly, kind of reminding me a bit of like a Keith Lee type in a way,
Yeah.
right? Maybe not as big as Keith Lee, of course, but I mean, with an agility that didn't match his look,
hmm
right? And just there's some amazing stuff that happened in this match. I mean, there was one just huge tope suicida to the floor. There was that cutter near fall they did once. I think it was the diving cutter at
hmm
one point, or he caught him in a dive into a cutter. The whole hot tag, like they built up to a hot tag from Midas Black to Jay Lyons, and Jay Lyons just went nuts in the ring. And it was just, there was so many moves, and he took out both guys. And it was just some of the stuff he was doing, like flipping over them and stuff. It was just incredible.
Mhm.
The poison Rana that I think it was Chael Connors landed on Midas Black. I may have the people who were involved in it wrong, but man, that looked sick. Just so many good double team moves by both teams. It was like fast paced. It was fun. Um, Main event won it with a pop up face buster. And yeah, that was the match. I would guess it was probably about 10 minutes long, but
Yeah.
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 But yeah, no,
Um,
it was fast. It was, high flying. What'd you think?
well, I think this was my match of the night. I love this match. I thought it was fantastic from the beginning to end. They really surprised, like CXR. We've seen them before, so I knew what I was getting from CXR, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect what I was getting from main event, right? So CXR, like they're the heels, but like they're such good wrestlers. And I'm like, I don't know how I can't cheer for like both of these guys, like
Oh, I
all these
know.
guys, right?
Yeah.
So like like I obviously I wanted main event to win because first met them, seemed like nice guys. And at first I was like, oh man, so CXR is really gonna put a show on these two. But then main event like carried themselves well, like that Poison Rana. And I think it was actually hit on Jay Lion actually, because I remember when the Poison Rana got hit, I was like, there's no way he's this is happening to him. And he does it, and you're like, wow, and just going back to their Q&A, they talk about taking moves,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah.
talk about how every move hurts, and the Canadian Destroyer is the coolest one, but it hurts like hell, right? And just
Mm-hmm.
watching them take the poison around, I was like, oh my god, I can just imagine how this hurts.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I love this match. I thought these guys were all fantastic. I thought they did such a good job with the time given to them. And yeah, the tag moves are so crazy. Like I was like, wow, this is really really good. Like CXR, they're such a great tag team. Main event now I know what they're capable of, but the reversals, the hot tags, like I don't know if it was CXR that hit the cutter off the top rope, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think it was them who did that, and I
Yep.
was like, this is absolutely such an insane match. It was so fast and frenetic that I'm like, yeah, this is my type of match. So right off the bat, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be my match of the night. I don't know anything else can steal it, but I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wrote down under it when I was first taking my notes after the match, probable match of the night.
Mhm.
And then I changed it to match of the night
Match,
by the end of the night. Yeah, because
yeah.
I loved this match. And I mean, anyone who
Mhm.
follows our like the Twitter account knows that I'd already said this was the match of the night.
Mm.
So yeah, it's I love this match. It was so much fun. It was so fast. This is the kind of wrestling I love.
Mhm.
Just high flying,
Yep.
fast, frenetic, great moves. And yet the thing in it too was they told the story well too, right? I mean, CXR played their roles to
Hmm.
perfection, right? The guys in main event were the clear faces coming into this, and they played it up, and it was the whole like building to the hot tag was well done, the story, and then the near falls at the end, the back and forth between both teams. It was just they built the pace up perfectly. They got to the frenetic end, and main event wins. But you could just as easily see CXR taking one from main event at some point too, right?
Yeah.
Like both these teams, I love them both. I would be more than happy to see either one of them wrestle more often. I, you know, hey, one of these guys shows up on Dark or something like that, I'll be like,
Yeah.
that's a possible match of the
Hmm.
Dark match of the week. Though I believe in another show later on we will be talking more about the potential fate of AEW Dark. But anyway, yeah, no, I love this match. I loved it, and yeah. Then we got there was a card change. Originally, it was supposed to be Nikita defending her Smash Women's Championship against Seleziya Sparks, but Nikita could not wrestle, and whether she was injured or just couldn't make the show, they didn't really explain. But Miley took her place. Miley being the more or less cheerleader wrestler that hangs with books and looks, and she took on Seleziya Sparks, both Toronto girls. Um, Seleziya won this with a crossface. It was a solid match. There was a huge cross body at one point. I think it was Miley who did it to Seleziya, if I'm not wrong. There were some good transitions by Seleziya. The way she moved from move to move was pretty smooth, I thought. I liked her character. She plays like the ultimate heel. Like I turned to Krishna when she came. I'm like, she gives me Club Venus vibes. Like she would fit in perfectly with Club Venus. Just this whole arrogant kind of like, yeah, I'm all that attitude. And of course, Miley is Miley. She's just your happy-go-lucky cheerleader type, and it was a good contrast of face versus heel too. So, what'd you think of the match?
The match was good. I mean, like obviously coming off the high of the match previously, right? I don't think anything was going to touch that. So they put this match was almost like in the 9:30 death slots, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what else they were expecting because Miley, if you notice, the crowd was very odd. Like the amount of time she screamed, "Come on," and the
Hmm.
crowd was like dead silence, and then like finally they kind of woke up a bit. Was kind of funny. She does her best. I mean, she's a decent wrestler. Like she's probably better than some of the female wrestlers I've seen. I mean, Seleziya, this is Seleziya.
Silesia. Yep.
Yeah, she's good. Like I would be interested to find out what her and Nikita would have done in a match as well. She plays a perfect heel. Though it's weird because Nikita is a heel, so
Hmm.
I'm like, heel versus heel. Huh, sounds like Rampage. Yeah, it was interesting. Like she plays like again, the guy sitting beside me tries to like give her like a high five, and she kind of gives him this look, and he's like, "Oh, what a bitch," and I'm like. You know that she's playing a character, and it's pretty awesome that she did that, right?
I know.
It's like,
You
dude,
and I
like,
were both
calm.
like the guy. They does and you and I are busting a gut laughing
I was
next to
dying.
the
I was
dude.
like, she's so fun. Like, I mean, this was perfect. She didn't break character once.
I
Once. It
know.
was it was so good. Like
Yeah.
she plays the perfect bad heel, and she is jacked. Oh my god, she's huge, right? Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, you can tell she lifts weights. Holy
Yes.
crap. Yeah, she did well. Like there's a lot of power, there's some power moves she did on Miley, right? Miley,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, it was good. Again, you put it on the 9:30 the like match here is like it's like it was good. No, nothing overly like nothing happened that I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they messed that up. It was wrestled well. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Decent. It wasn't like it had some fast parts, some slow parts. I was like, where's the guy with the rest hold sign, right? When she was giving like the stretch, I forgot when she was stretching out her like her arm. I'm like, where's that rest hold guy when you need him? But I know what they were doing. Like they obviously they weren't going to go 100 miles an hour because the previous match just went 100 miles an hour, right? So you
I
can't
have
do
something
that.
to inform you of, Krishna.
What's that?
Submissions are a thing in wrestling, and they don't run
Not
during
anymore,
them.
Bill. Not
No,
anymore.
they
Submissions
are.
and
They
matches
really
now.
are. They really are a thing in wrestling.
Yeah,
It's,
but we're not talking Bret Hart here, where Bret Hart worked over pieces of people's body and then literally destroyed them, right? Like you saw the intricate works. This one's kind of like, yeah, sure. Like, I mean, I didn't hate this match or anything like that. Like, it sounds like I hated this match, but I didn't. I just thought it was okay.
you don't sound like you hate the match. No,
Yeah.
you've been fairly
I just
complimentary
I
on it.
just thought it was good. I thought it was a good match. Um, and I thought it showed. I think we saw Miley wrestle last time, if I wasn't
No,
mistaken.
she came out with books and
She
looks.
came out with books and looks, but didn't she wrestle one time
I
before?
don't I don't think so.
Because I thought it was the first time we saw Seleziya wrestle, but it wasn't
Yeah,
the
but
first
no,
time we
it was
saw.
it. No, we haven't seen Miley
Oh,
either.
okay, okay. So then,
Yeah,
okay, maybe
I
I'm
don't
mixing her up with
recall ever
somebody else.
seeing her wrestle before.
Yeah, maybe I mixed her up with somebody else. But like, yeah, I mean, nothing like there again, no errors. I was see. Here's the thing: if you listen to what I'm saying, talking, is that I will grade matches based on the mistakes they make. If they make a lot of mistakes, that match loses a lot of points for me.
Well, that
They
makes
didn't
sense
make any.
though.
Yeah, they didn't make any mistakes. Like I
There's
didn't
a
see
couple
any.
timing snafus.
Well, listen, I've seen worse on Dark,
Oh, hell yes,
right?
I've
So I
seen
can't,
way
I
worse. This
can't,
was still
I
good.
yeah. So I can't really say like, oh my god, like these things are nuts because
Yeah,
I've seen so much. Heck, I've seen worse on Dynamite.
yeah.
All right,
Look, I don't expect perfection,
yeah.
right? I mean, look, perfect just means like, oh, wow, you guys did awesome,
Mhm.
right? Like I don't expect perfection. So yeah, a couple little timing errors here, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to lose sleep over it, right? I think Seleziya has real potential. I think
Hmm.
she's got
Oh
potential
yeah.
to go a very long way. Like when I say she has Club Venus vibes, I may hate Club Venus, and I will continue to tell you how much I hate Club Venus. Um,
Loves them.
but to say that someone feels like she would belong with them is a huge
Fair enough.
compliment,
Fair
right?
enough.
Because I
That's
could
true.
see her fitting in big time. She, like I said, attitude, the look, everything. I thought, you know, the match itself, it was solid. You're right, it had the death spot. Her crossface looked good though, right? I
It
mean, her
did. It
finishing
did.
crossface, it was well applied. Um, so yeah, I thought they did a really good job. And like I said, Seleziya, I'd love to see more of her. She has real potential. I would really like to see the match between her and Nikita.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that would be a really good match. And then we had match number 4. was Psycho Mike taking on Scotty Too Hotty. And that's right, we did say Scotty Too
Scotty.
Hotty of WWE Attitude Era fame with was it So Cool, Too Cool? I don't know. I didn't
Too
watch
cool.
the
Too
Attitude Era.
cool. Too
I
cool.
know there's a bunch of people now listening going, "What do you mean you didn't watch the Attitude Era?" I'm like, "It was my least favorite time in
Too cool.
wrestling."
Scotty Too Hotty and Grandmaster Sexay.
Who?
Rest in peace, Grandmaster Sexay, but Scotty Too Hotty and Grandmaster Sexay.
Okay, great. Wasn't Rikishi part of that?
He was. They danced with him. Yeah, they were part. Like I guess he had. Yeah, he was involved in it for a while too,
Okay.
right? Because the fans loved it, right? And as we could tell, the fans at the events were going absolutely wild for Scotty.
That's right, because man, they were hot for. Though there was a very strong dueling chant between Scotty and
Psycho
Psycho
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, Psycho Mike has his supporters, me being one of them, Krishna being another. But
He's
this
a
was an
hometown hero.
awesome and funny match. I mean, you knew what you were getting when these two guys were in the ring together, right? They're going to build it up to the worm, they're going to build it up to the body slam, and that was the story.
Mm-hmm.
But in between, they're going to have a lot of fun with a lot of good moves. I mean, look, neither one of these guys is going to be Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
both can wrestle solidly. Scotty Tuati did well for a guy his age in the ring. Okay. I mean, he wrestled solidly. He was still able to go. He was able to do some like flips and more agile stuff still. And, so, I mean, he's in good shape for a guy who was like a coach for a bunch of years too,
Yeah.
right? He's only recently come back to wrestling full time. And Psycho Mike, I mean, what I love about him, he's got the comedy gimmick, but he can wrestle. And that makes it excellent. Oh, there's a spot in it where he was just staring at the hard cam the whole time. And at a moment, Scotty Too Hotty actually says to him, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm looking at the hard cam. I'm a professional here." Oh. And then, of course, after Psycho Mike wins with the body slam, he then of course he won with the body slam because the body slam is the most devastating move in professional wrestling. He gives Scotty Too Hotty CPR, which was pretty great. Oh, but then there was also the promo after the match. Scotty Too Hotty got the mic, and he praised Canadian wrestlers, and he talked about all kinds of different Canadian wrestlers that were big. Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Kurt Hennig, which was not Canadian, but he wrestled him at what show did he say was WrestleMania? One of the first. Oh, the WrestleMania in Skydome. That's why he mentioned it, right? It was like one of the. Yeah, he got the opportunity to wrestle Kurt Hennig, and he talked about all the great Canadian wrestlers, Test, Edge and Christian. He left out a very particular couple of wrestlers from Winnipeg, unfortunately, but especially one, perhaps the god of pro wrestling himself. But it's okay, Scotty, we get it. But what came out was his real passion for the business himself, and then he called out Psycho Mike, right? And Psycho Mike came out, and he gave him like a real, like broke character, real talk, and he talked to Psycho Mike about like his heart, his passion. And he goes, "You may be thinking that it's passed you by, right? But he said, you've got what it takes to make it, and I know you're going to." And he said, he plans to see him down in Florida at the Performance Center, right? And you could see through the whole thing. Like, I've never seen Psycho Mike break his face character like this, but he was crying. Like, his eyes were teared up. And it was a huge, like, just impactful and emotional moment in the ring. It was very impressive. I mean, Scotty Too Hotty joked about going too long on the mic too, right? He did have the mic for quite a while.
He did.
But I mean, it's Scotty Too Hotty, right? So I mean, what are they going to do? Tell him like shut the hell up and go? But I mean, I loved that moment. It's something I'm going to remember for, and who's really going to remember that for a long time? Psycho Mike. And but anyway, what did you think of the match, and then what did you think of the aftermatch?
The match was good. I mean, we knew what we were getting. It was a comedy match, and you're right. Scotty, he hit all the moves he did when he was younger, so it didn't look like he missed a beat on anything really. Him and Mike just working together, like just the comedy. It's so weird when you realize back in the Attitude Era how much of a goofball Scotty Too Hotty is. To him, still being the goofball, but the lesser of the two in comparison to Psycho Mike, where he's asking Mike, "What are you doing?" Right? And Mike,
Yep.
I'm staring at the hard cam because I'm a professional. It's just so ridiculous. I love Psycho Mike is so good, because he never breaks character. That's it. That's the whole thing, right? It's like he's like an Orange Cassidy and stuff like that, where their gimmicks are so crazy and they never break character. Even when he broke character, he tried to stop right away.
I
But
know.
like, but it was a good match. I mean, the aftermath of the match was really a heartfelt message from Scotty to Mike. And that's the thing, right? Like, I love how he pointed out, I can see like a little bit of age in you now, but like you still got it. You still got it. And he says like, I've seen 126 people come into the performance center. I've seen 126 leave. Right. But he's like, there's
Mhm.
just something about you. Just keep the fire, just keep going. And yeah, listen, if someone could sign Psycho Mike, that'd be amazing. Tony Khan, if you're listening to this, if you want to sign Psycho Mike, that would be awesome because we saw him when he was, on the indies, and he's the type of character, the wrestler, which he'll give you those good matches because he can go, and he gives you that comedy that's just it's which WWE hates for the most part,
Yeah,
but
like
like
real comedy. Yeah.
yeah, but like yeah, he gives you what like he's just so cool, right? So yeah, great. You know what, Scotty, I wasn't the greatest fan of Scotty's wrestling ever. I was never really a big fan, but like after listening to his speech to Mike, I was like, I've gained a lot of respect for this guy. Like he's genuine. He actually cares about promoting the younger generation. Like I
Mhm.
wouldn't be shocked if he requested to face Psycho Mike. Like that's how far I probably think it would have went, right? But yeah, great match. Just great overall thing that
Mm.
happened.
Oh yeah, and I mean, look, I'm with you. I hate the
Mhm.
worm. I've never liked the worm. It's right up there with the people's elbows moves I despise in professional wrestling. And there's a bunch of people now who just went, "What? You despise the people?" Yes, I despise the people's elbow. It is dumb. Anyway, you know what else is dumb? The worm. But do you know who's actually very cool? Scotty Too Hottie.
Yep,
So yeah,
very cool.
I also gained a ton of respect for him listening to him after the match. I mean, I may not like the worm, may not like the character he plays in the ring, but I have a great deal of respect for the man.
Hmm.
And this is independent wrestling, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's it's what I love. We went to the show. There's like 300 people there, maybe,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
maybe, yeah.
maybe less.
Had
And
to be less than that, but yeah.
and you get to hear stuff like this. You get to see
Hmm.
moments like this, all right? Like this is something that only those people, and hopefully they'll put something about this on the YouTube channel or something, but
Hmm.
only those people who are there are going to experience this, right? And it
Yeah,
is out of nowhere and such a cool moment.
yeah,
And it's that kind of stuff where you see like the real heart and the real passion and the real energy and the real drive that you get in these rings that I love so much about these shows. It's guys giving their all, giving everything, because they love the business enough to be there. Of course, they all want to make it, right? I
yep,
mean, that's their dream. But to do that, they're still giving everything they got on that particular night. So
yep.
I love that kind of stuff. Love it. Yeah, so this was a very solid match. And that took us to our intermission. And then after the intermission, the first match back was Kevin Bennett, the Smash Wrestling champion, the remix himself, taking on Mr. Vaughn Vertigo. Now, there was a story in this match. Vaughn had a hernia and appendix surgery, I
Hmm.
believe, and then went
Yep.
overseas for a WXW show, and he did cut a promo on I think it was either his Twitter. Anyway, I saw the promo, might have been on Twitter. But he noted he's not at 100%. But if he's willing to travel overseas with his guts hanging out of his body, then he's able to take the Smash Wrestling Championship. Um, but he came out with his ribs all like his stomach all taped up. There was white tape and then black tape over it to match his trunks. I was like, that's smart. Why don't
Hmm.
more people tape up their ribs and stuff with matching tape to their outfits? Not that it
Oh,
really mattered once it got ripped.
because you want people to know that you're injured, Bill. That's why.
Oh, is that why?
That's why.
Then, of course, Kevin Bennett came out with his cronies, one of whom I said looks like a much thinner, smaller Jay White. But of course, Bennett cut his classic promo when he got in the ring, called us all a bunch of complete idiots. We're all too
he
stupid to know
he
what's
was
going
right.
on.
He was right.
He was right. but the woman across from us, did you see the look on her face? She was clearly incredibly offended that this guy was saying all these things. I was like,
I
that's kind of
actually I
hilarious.
didn't I wasn't looking.
Oh,
But like yeah, you know what? If they were like, hey, heck, everyone was shouting and yelling, and I was laughing because I
mhm.
couldn't
Oh,
believe
I love
how
Kevin
awesome
Bennett.
this guy is. Um, yeah, but again, we have a soft spot in our hearts for Kevin Bennett after the Q&A that he had with us like last time, right?
Yeah.
So we know that and again, we know wrestling, like they're playing characters. We know that these guys are good guys, but just
Yep.
watching him in his character is absolutely hilarious, right? So
Yep.
yeah, I enjoyed him calling us stupid. Kevin, you were correct. We are stupid. Sorry,
Yes.
we're dumb. We're very, very dumb.
Exactly. I wanted to start a "We're so stupid" chant.
We should have.
I
We
know,
definitely should
but
have.
no one would have followed along, Krishna.
That's
They were
right.
all busy
That's right.
booing him. There was like four of us in the audience cheering for the guy.
Yeah, I
But
know. I know.
anyway, the story of this match was very clearly Kevin Bennett targeting the hell out of Vaughn's stomach and Vaughn just selling the hell out of that stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got Vaughn selling it, trying to mount comebacks through the whole match. I mean, Bennett hit this wicked cutter on the apron. You heard Vaughn's head thump
Yeah.
into the apron. That looked painful. Um, there was a chair shot at one point, and then a top rope cutter. Um, Vaughn hit his finisher, but he was then pulled out by one of the cronies.
Mm-hmm.
So the chair shot and the cutter is what finished off Vaughn Vertigo. Eventually, it was of course, with all the cronies at ringside, ref distraction. They pull out the steel chair. He hits him in the gut with it, then gives him the cutter and that the top rope cutter, and that was it. 1, 2, 3. Vaughn Vertigo was put down, but he tried hard. He had to fight through all that stomach stuff. So, what'd you think of the match?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was promoted that he did have surgery. So I mean, if obviously, I mean, he has to be clear to do this kind of stuff. So it was a good story. It was a good story. Just watching Kevin Bennett do his stuff. Like Kevin Bennett is really good too. So like was watching him play the heel. He had his belt with him this time, right? So that
Yes.
again, he hates Toronto all like he majority of the time wrestles Toronto. Um we knew the belt wasn't changing here. We knew the minute he came out, he's like, I'm not gonna stay here for the main event. I don't want to stay here any longer than I have to.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But yeah, and Vertigo is so good. Like he's the high flyer, but you could tell that he sold it. He sold that he was injured. He sold that everything, and it came down to like the chair shot and the interference is really what got him. So there's gonna be a rematch coming down. I can see Vertigo beating Bennett for that belt. But like yeah, no, it's like I had fun. I had fun this match. Like listen, I enjoy Kevin Bennett. Like I think he's absolutely hilarious. Vertigo is one of those like high flying guys who I really love. Heck, he won the match we had seen against him and the two bigger guys, right?
Yep.
Last time. I love that match was fantastic. He kept getting thrown around, but they couldn't keep him down, right? That's who Vertigo is. So I like this match. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, he's like the smash underdog wrestler.
Yeah, yeah,
Like always
he
coming
really
back
is.
from behind, always trying to
Hmm.
overcoming things and stuff. But in this case, he just couldn't quite overcome all the
Yeah.
interference and chair shots to the gut. So,
Yep.
but no, really good. I love both these guys so much. They're so good. Right. I love Kevin Bennett. I love Vaughn Vertigo. I mean, I could watch both these guys anytime. So yeah, great match. It was in my top three on the night. I'm not sure if it's my 2 or 3, but it's in that top 3 range.
Hmm.
So,
It was good.
yeah, and in terms of wrestling, I mean, if it comes
Yeah,
to comedy, clearly Psycho Mike wins, but
of course, of course.
but
Yeah, yeah.
but yes. Then we had a very different pace kind of match. We had Carter Mason, the King of the North, and he was taking on Danny Jones, who is here
Mhm.
from the UK. He is from Cardiff, Wales, I believe they announced him from. This was your hard hitting match. I mean, Carter
Mhm.
Mason lays into Danny Jones at the start with chops, and Danny Jones totally no sells him and then just beats the tar out of him. I mean, he was just chopping the
Yeah.
crap out of Carter Mason for a while. And Carter Mason was like running away and he'd get caught and chop some more. And, there were hits, suplexes, knees. I mean, from both these guys, Carter Mason came back with his own offense too, right?
Mhm.
And they just killed each other for this match. There was just like hits, suplexes, knees. It was pretty great. Jones won the match with a pile driver. What
Yeah.
did you think of this match?
No, I like this match a lot. I really did because you're right. It was hard. It was a different pace of match. Like as I said, I love the CXR match versus main event. That was my match for the night. But this match, every shot was a hard shot. I was like, holy crap. This and listen, Carter Mason, the king of the north, of now he's not, he's something else now. This guy is not the biggest guy in the world. He's tiny compared to the other guy. And he was taking some shots. I was like, oh my God, like how are you getting up in the
I
morning,
know.
right? But he held his own. He held his own throughout this match. There were
Mhm.
times I'm like, wow, is Carter Mason actually gonna beat this guy? And yeah, it turns out obviously he doesn't. But tons of respect for Carter Mason. He went out there. Hey, heck, last time he was thrown into the match. Remember when the driver
Yes.
couldn't and they just clobbered him and he was
Yeah.
out. So this guy goes out there every time. I have respect for that. Does his job,
Mhm.
doesn't complain, and yeah, hey,
Well, hey,
I think
he
he's
does
fantastic.
complain, but promo wise.
No, promo wise complaints, and I love the fact
Storyline
where
complaint.
we're like, I love it when the fans get into it, but I love it
Mhm.
more when the wrestlers kind of tell them off, kind of thing. It's like with that one guy in the front row who kept giving like both middle fingers up to the wrestlers, like one,
Yeah.
two, and he's like, ah, that's so funny, right? So so I just loved it. I thought it was great. If these guys are just to the fans out there, if they're angering you, they've done their job. They've
Oh
done
yeah.
their jobs, right? That's
Yep.
exactly what they're going out there. And you know what? For the most part, I love it that no one like remember we're at an indie event. There are no barricades, nothing around,
Mhm.
but no one gets crazy offended and tries to attack anybody and stuff like that, right?
Well,
This is
no.
just like like, we know what's happening, we know like what's going on. So yeah, no, I thought Carter Mason again from what we've seen him wrestle 3 times now, right?
Mhm.
The first time was when he fought against the guy from Quebec, and I'm totally blanking the guy's name right now, but that was when he was a king of the North still,
Mhm.
and that was a great match, right? Because he was
Yep.
kind of like semi good guy at that point, right? I can't remember. I thought he was kind of the good a good guy there,
Uh,
right? But anyways, regardless, this match I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite the change from everything else we had seen, but it worked. It's like this show needed a match like this, and yeah, I really like this match.
oh yeah, 100%. The change of pace was put in here
Hmm.
perfectly,
Hmm.
right? You had that, and then bookended with the main event, right?
Yeah.
So this match was in the exact right place on the card.
Hmm.
Hard hitting as hell. I love
Hmm.
matches like this, right? I don't want to see all my matches like
Yeah.
this. You know, I
Same.
need my main events versus CXR too, but
Same.
man, I love matches like this where two
Hmm.
guys just go in and kill each other. Right. And you're
Agreed.
right. Carter Mason, I mean, it can't be underestimated. This guy was nowhere near the other guy's size.
No,
Right.
not at all.
No,
Yeah.
I mean Danny Jones was much taller and much heavier, much bigger built, right? Danny Jones, well, wasn't his catchphrase made of stone?
Made of stone. That
Yeah,
was his catchphrase.
yeah,
He was a
exactly.
gigantic man. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he looks like he's made of stone. So
Yeah.
yes, I can see that. So yeah, it was basically Carter Mason taking on a stone golem, and ouch. So yeah, it was really good hitting, really hard hitting. I would probably see this one. I mean, this one is up there too with like a 1B, 1C scenario with
Yeah. Agreed.
The Kevin Bennett Vaughn Vertigo match. So those are like my three wrestling matches of the night,
Mhm.
with the of course main event and CXR
Oh
taking
yeah.
first place. But these other two are very close. I enjoyed them both a lot.
Yeah.
So and then that took us to our main event. We had Puma King, who is here from Triple A, and Charles Crowley, who we remember him from last time too. He's from the UK, and he has kind of a semi-magician, little bit of a show performer kind of guy
Hmm.
gimmick going on, carnival guy, I suppose you
Steampunk
could
kind
say.
of thing
Yes,
going on. Yeah.
yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So yeah, and they had a good little match. There was a bit of comedy in it. Charles Crowley got some rope and he tried to tie up Puma King's hands at one point. That didn't really go so well, and Puma King got the rope up. And then at one point, Puma King just leaves the ring and runs to the back, and he comes back with tape and he tapes Charles Crowley's hands together. And then Crowley fought the rest of the match with his hands in
Fantastic.
front of him taped up, including
Mhm.
doing his moves like almost like Orange Cassidy style, but
Mhm.
not quite as good.
Yeah,
With the hands tied up, because let's face it, no one does moves like
that's
Orange
true.
Cassidy with his hands in his pockets. But Charles Crowley did quite well with his hands tied. I mean, look, I would not want to try to wrestle when you can't use your hands to do anything properly, right? Like kudos
Yeah.
to him for that. So yeah, that was pretty cool. He fought half the match with his hands. Um, Crowley wins the match by pulling off the luchador's mask and then pinning him
Yeah.
as he was desperately covering his face. So, the old cheesy way to beat a luchador got boos, and that was the end of the main event of the night. But anyway, what'd you think of the match?
I like this match. I like Crowley. That's why I think Crowley has his gimmick, his personality, the way he carries himself, his wrestling abilities. I'm actually surprised this guy isn't on a show, like hasn't been hired by somebody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about him, and he's just, it's different. He's got a different kind of gimmick going. Now I don't know how well that would sell like in a WWE or AEW or whatever, right? But it just works, and I'm like, I really like his character because we saw him the last show we were at was when we first saw him wrestle against Psycho Mike, I believe it was, right? I think that's what
Yes.
he, like, yeah, it was Psycho Mike. And of course, this ends with him calling out Psycho Mike again. He wants Mike,
Oh,
the
give
one
me
match
that
he's
match.
lost, right? The
Yep.
one match he's lost. So he wants a
That
rematch
that was
against
the
Mike.
best 7 of 9 or whatever it was
Yeah,
falls,
yes,
right?
yes, it was. That was the match. You're right.
Yep.
No. I think that match you were talking about, the 7 and 9, that was with Clara. It was the Black Swan guy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
you're
who it
right. You're
was.
right. You're
That's
right.
who it
You're
was.
right. You're
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, no. His was just a regular one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a good one-on-one because I remember him and Mike going at it, and they did really well. And that's what I was actually impressed with Crowley, because he does, like, Mike doesn't. Mike is just like a standard type of hard hitting wrestler. He does like standard wrestling moves. Crowley's very athletic. Like some of the flips and stuff he does, I'm like, I wouldn't think he would be able to do it, but he does it. Right, he
Mm-hmm.
just does it. So I like him versus Puma King this time. Like Puma King was good. I thought he was good. Right.
Yes.
Obviously I'm not saying like Ray Phoenix is good or anything like that, but he was good. He was a good luchador wrestler. He got the crowd into it, got the lucha
Mm-hmm.
chants,
Yep.
did a lot of lucha. I like that. I love how he has the cat character and he's like licking
Oh
his
yeah.
hands, and he's just playing with the referee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was it, this match where the referee took the bump? Is this the match he took the bump in, or was it another match? I can't remember.
Oh, I
I
can't
think
remember
it may have
either.
been another match, but no, it was the he took the bump in the
The Bennett
Kevin
match,
Bennett
right?
match. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I thought this match was fun. Again, I just think Crowley is just, I hate to say it, a character, because I just love it. I think he does is such a good job with what he is, and his music is so funny because like it starts off so slow, and then it pumps up like as if you're in a club or something like that,
Yeah.
and he just dances his way to the ring. I'm like,
Yep.
this guy is so
Oh,
ridiculous,
he's great.
but he's so
Is
good. He's so
is
good.
it safe to say he's who Kip Sabian wishes he was?
100%. I know, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. And this is not me saying Kip Sabian's a bad wrestler, because I'll actually go on record saying I think Kip Sabian's better probably than Crowley is. But gimmick wise, oh my
Hmm.
God,
Yeah,
Crowley
and it's the gimmick I'm referring to, not the wrestling ability.
heads and tails over. What is Kip Sabian's gimmick?
Hmm.
Right? If someone
Exactly.
could explain it to me,
Yeah,
I'd be happy to
yeah,
listen.
exactly. And it's like, but whenever I see Charles Crowley, it hits me in the head. I'm like, this is who Kip Sabian wishes he could act like.
100%. I
Right.
didn't think about that, but you're right.
Yep. See, there you go. That's another guy that would be probably pretty awesome. I don't know if he'd be very far up the card in AEW, but I think that he would serve a really good role there.
But the thing is, you know what? I would cheer for him just because I know where he came from. I've
Oh, yeah,
seen
that's
him come up, right? So
yeah.
that's where I'd be excited to see a Crowley match just because I've seen him. Just think
Mhm.
about it. We saw Sammy Guevara. We saw Daniel Garcia
Yep.
live when
Yep.
before AEW
Yeah.
happened. We saw these guys,
Mhm.
right? So there's always that little bit of like, bias that we have in
Of
us
course.
where we love these guys, but they're awesome wrestlers. Like, I mean, that's like, if,
Yeah.
if someone sucked and we saw them, we wouldn't be like, oh my God, this guy's awesome because we saw. No, because they're awesome, right?
Right.
Crowley
So,
fits in the same mold right now, right? So I would love to see him there.
100%. It's why I always have a soft spot in my heart for the strong hearts, right?
Yeah, that's true. I miss Seema, and
I know.
what was the other guy's name? T Hawk. T
Yes.
Hawk.
T-Hawk.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know how. I guess they're doing fine wherever they are, even though
Oh,
OWE's.
no, they're in Japan working
Oh, they're in
for
Japan.
working for it's a I forget the name of the promotion now, but it's a smaller promotion that they're involved with now. It's like kind of like a not one of the larger ones, shall we
Yeah,
say, but they're working for it right now.
fair enough.
Yeah, no, it's you're absolutely right. It's like that's the wonderful thing about seeing these shows too, right? You ever see these guys like now you know how people probably feel about the bunny, right? Because I mean, Ali wrestled at Smash Wrestling tons of
Yeah,
times,
true.
right? And so, I mean, had we seen those shows back then, you know,
Yeah.
well, there you
Or the
go,
lucky
right?
people that got to see the Bucks and stuff like that wrestle, right? When they were
Oh
in
yeah.
PWG and even the other smaller
Hmm.
stuff they were doing, like to where they went to, like that's such a crazy journey that you root for these guys. Like, and I am rooting for Crowley because I think he's such a great character. I would love to see him on the big stage.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, I mean that it was a nice cap to a pretty
Mhm.
damn cool evening. What'd you think of the show overall?
I thought the show was good. I thought the show was it had so like it had some really great matches to just good to some good matches, right? Nothing like terrible, nothing bad. I thought the show was well put together, and I could see where Sebastian is saying, yeah, this show probably cost a little bit more, right? Because you had to pay all these wrestlers to come out and perform, right? But no, I thought the show was great.
Hmm. Yeah, me too. I mean, it was 100% worth the money we paid for it.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like some of the best value money you're ever going to pay is coming to these
Yeah,
shows, right? You get this amazing wrestling. You're right there with the wrestlers. You get it. I don't know. I mean, and now it sounds like I'm working for Smash or something, which I'm not either.
he's working for Smash. He's working for
And
Smash.
it's just like I enjoy myself so much at these shows. Like I really do. It's just so much fun in seeing these guys, and it's kind of like like we go where the elite go. This is like we go where the elite in the making go.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
it's true.
and that's kind of how I feel about watching it too, right? I mean, some of these guys, like they have the potential to be the elite wrestlers one day.
Like I would love to see Kevin Bennett and most of these guys on like heck, listen, Psycho Mike, obviously, first and foremost. I think he should be up there. But like
Yes,
Kevin Bennett, Vaughn Vertigo, like what's it called? Crowley. Like these are the guys I really want to see up in like a main roster somewhere because they have
CXR main event.
CXR.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Like CXR, come help AEW with their with their
tag
tag
division.
division,
Just bring
please.
bring both. Just take both those teams. Main event. They've already
I
worked with a
know
bunch of
main
guys on
event
them,
is
right?
they're so good, and I love it. And it's like it's sometimes I feel bad for some of these guys because I see how hard they're working, I see how awesome they are, and then they're like they never get that break, right? But hey, they're still doing what they love, so I mean that counts for
Well,
something.
that's the whole thing, right? I mean, they're still living what they're very passionate about, and they get to go out and do it in front of a bunch of people who appreciate their craft.
Agreed. Agreed.
That is freaking cool. Whether they ever make it to AEW or not, or they make it to wherever they want to end up.
Yeah,
I'm sure many of them want to go to WWE, and you know what? If you do, good for
that's
you.
fine. That's fine.
Um, but yeah, I love watching these shows for that exact reason, though, right? It's just it's so much fun. Like I said, it's we go where the elite in the making are too.
Hmm.
So, but the next Smash show in Toronto is going to be happening on June the 25th, Forbidden Door Day, and they are bringing in Progress and Defy Wrestling for a huge show, and Femme Fatale Wrestling. They'll be doing a show with Femme Fatale at apparently 11 in the morning, and then they'll be doing a show with Defy and Progress at 3 in the afternoon,
Yeah,
something
three,
like that.
3 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Yeah,
The London show, and they're doing a show in London the day before as well on the 24th, and apparently the tickets for that are already mostly gone. So the tickets for the Toronto show have yet to go on sale, to my knowledge. But anyway, Krishna and I will definitely be doing our best to check that one out as well, because the
doing our
venue they
best.
are at is
Yeah,
walking distance from the Scotiabank Arena, which I will always call the ACC. So
yeah, we'll try our best. I mean, it's gonna be a tough night. Obviously, we want to get to Forbidden Door and get our merch and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I mean, we'll try to catch as much as we can.
mhm, absolutely, and we'll give you we'll obviously be doing shows on all of those.
Mhm.
So yeah, but for now, it is time for us to depart. And as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody. Mwah, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.